This is The Process Shot. I'm Michael. I'm not sure what time it is, and I've seen Along for the Ride, a new coming-of-age romantic comedy drama from director Sofia Alvarez. It follows the summer vacation adventure of Auden, a high school graduate with no friends, divorced parents, and a bad case of insomnia. She ends up in a routine, working through the afternoon at a clothing store and spending her late nights reading, which is how she meets Eli, a quiet and reserved local who spends his own sleepless nights biking. The two end up talking, which leads to both of them opening up to each other and opening Auden to a world of fun that she had never given herself back in school. Over time, they both help each other come to terms with their own personal tragedies as well. You know, the usual kind of fluff in a teenage romance story. The end result ends up feeling more like a story written by checklist rather than something by committee. That is, it makes heavy use of a number of tropes and ideas, which are then a bit simplified or minimized, as if to get in as many of those as possible while keeping the movie rolling along. It really just makes the whole plot rather predictable, with little, if anything, to shake up the overall structure or play with the cliches of the genre. Instead, any story beats which can be met usually are. The numerous characters are similarly undeveloped and weak. Supporting characters already have flat personalities as it is here, but any main character other than Auden or Eli generally end up having one or two distinct traits that don't matter too much in the long run. They're treated more like surface level details, sort of like hobbies or personal talents. The only other character details that seem to come out usually do so when it helps out Auden's story directly, including Eli and his own personal arc. The whole story seems to revolve around Auden, which makes sense in regards to this story being her point of view, but isn't helped by how she's pretty uninteresting overall, or at least she's not given much of a deeper exploration as a person. Either she's just not written out very well, or it's something to do more with the film's actual casting and its writing. The two of these clash in a bit of a technical manner, as the dialogue may have read out better in the writer's head, but doesn't come through all that well in the actors' flat or under-emotive deliveries. It's more as if the filmmakers had run a few takes to get the timing of scenes and the positions of characters correct, then moved on to the next task instead of getting a lock on the actual dialogue. It all just takes away from any attempted realism or connectivity, especially when you can almost hear where the script tells a character to heavily sigh. Anyways, with the film's greater focus on the story at hand, there's not much time spent on a visual signature. There are a few nice shots here and there, but they're treated more like beauty shots than anything more distinct or personal. It's more of a system of practical visuals and editing for the sake of moving things along and hiding cuts between dialogue takes. Speaking of which, editing is also pretty simple and doesn't add anything special or interesting at all to the proceedings or the way events are shown. It's more like they just wanted to get the actual scenes and story moments stitched together rather than create something cinematic or stylized. If anything, the soundtrack seems like it was given more attention than the visuals, with a rather decent cross-section of whatever subgenres are out there that they probably could have just called indie pop. Either way, it still feels a bit more like a playlist of the filmmaker's favorite artists, rather than the songs themselves being utilized for storytelling. Simply put, whatever creative elements of the film there are seem more about appealing to the target demographic, whether it be the story and characters, set design, soundtrack, and anything that actually physically appears within the scenes. Everything else seems to be more like either writing what they think teens would like, writing some sort of wish fulfillment for young women, or writing for actors that could have done a lot better than what we got here. Along for the Ride. Sofia Alvarez, 2022. 1.5 stars. I wouldn't recommend watching it, unless you're within the target demographic. But even if you are, you could still probably find something better than this. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. It really isn't an insult to suggest that the movie has a demographic in mind. There's a point somewhere in here where you realize that everybody has Vans clothing or shoes or whatever else they make.